Oh, my back.
Which one broke? That one?
Keep it on camera short.
What happened?
Get to the other side.
Who sits there?
I was
trying to think who sits there.
To Jimmy, and as I leaned back, there's obviously a screw missing here.
It's the chair's fault.
There's a screw missing here, too.
Nick, Jalen's committed just one turnover in the first 2 games, and you've gotten, a number of big plays from him. And sometimes, though, the flip side of big plays is that bigger risk plays, and your quarterback may throw interceptions, whatever the case may be. If you kind of had on that sliding scale of, I want my quarterback to make smart decisions, but might have to sacrifice some of the big plays, and I want my quarterback to take the risks that sometimes come with big plays, but he may turn the ball over. Kind of, where do you come down?
Yeah, I mean, when we look at every stat we ever look at, and the only stats we ever look at, obviously the win-loss column, right? But the stats that we look at and we talk about in here at all times, and it's part of the beginning of the week, part of the end of the week, is how do you win the explosive play battle, and how do you win the turnover battle? So it's, and like you said, I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, when you look at the stats of that from around the league, the teams that win that battle usually win the game. But, I mean, if it was everybody would do it if it was that easy. But we stress it. I mean, we talk like crazy about protecting the football, obsessive about it, right? And so the way you protect, not just, hey, protect the football, the fundamentals of protecting the football when you're carrying it, the importance of, Jalen being in the pocket and carrying it the right way in the pocket, and then making good decisions. And so you can be aggressive and still be able to protect the football. A lot of the things, as far as the interceptions go, you can be aggressive and still protect the football. That doesn't mean careless, though, right? And so it's that play's there. I'm trying to take this deep shot right here, and is it there? No? Check it down. Is it there? Yeah, got a step, take it. So we don't ever want to freeze them in those scenarios, but hopefully we've done enough to teach them, hey, this is what it looks like when it's there, here's what it looks like when it's not there, and let's move on. And then you talk a lot about like what coverage you're expecting when that explosive play's there. And so you teach the quarterback, and you spend so much time with the quarterback, so you're on the same page. Hey, when we get cover, fill in the blank. When we get cover 2, this is what we want this shot against. Shoot, we didn't get cover 2. Boom. Okay, check it down. So it's not an easy thing to do to be able to have a lot of explosives and not have turnovers. But it's a really important stat for us, and we spend a lot of time working to be good at that stat.
Nick, to that end, what was the teaching point for Kenny on that interception that Jalen had?
That was on me. I just felt like I didn't love the way that looked as far as to the quarterback's eye and to the running back's eye. And so it was a little muddy in there. And when it's muddy, and I knew it could be muddy in there. And and so it was something I thought that was 100% on me, that we needed to be a little bit more reps. I had to feel a little bit better about it to call it, and that's a good lesson for me, right? In the sense of, if you're not really convicted on a play or a scheme because of something the way it looks, then don't run it, and that's 100% on me.
Nick, what's your sense of how Haason Reddick's acclimation is going? Do you feel like you're pretty close to unlocking him? I
really do. As you watch last game, and this week on a short week, I didn't get the chance to watch the defense till a little bit later in the week. And I just, as I watched it later in the week, I'm like, man, it's close. It's close to having a big game, and that is my experience with defensive ends at times, is that maybe they're quiet for a couple weeks as far as the amount of hits they get on the quarterback, or the amount of pressures, or the amount of sacks, and then boom, like that, it can change like that. And so I just keep thinking he's close to having some a breakout game, and so that means that he is getting some of the pressure that we want on the quarterback. And so I'm excited when because it's going to happen, and I'm excited when that will happen. I'm just glad he's on our football team.
One stat that I don't know if you look at is average field position start. You're last in the league. I think average field position is 22 for the start of the drive. Any thoughts about how to kickstart the return game, and and get some better field position?
Yeah, I actually do pay attention to that. I don't say it makes or breaks us like the double positive or the explosive play battle and the turnover battle, but I do pay attention to that. And so that's a combination of, yes, just the return yards, the turnovers, all different sorts of things. And so because that is important, where you're getting the football, and I don't spend too much time on that because I know that changes throughout the week, throughout the year. But yeah, no doubt, do we want our to be able to create explosive plays with our return game, and I'm confident in what we're doing as far as how we're doing it, and I'm confident in the guys that we have in there, and like I said, I think that will turn as well.
On Monday, you played the most 11 personnel during your time here. Is that where you're turning as an offense now?
No, it's just what the game plan called for in that particular game, and that can change. You might go into a week with a plan to say I'm going to do this, but then this starts to work, right? And so you go in every week with your 12 personnel, 11 personnel, 13 personnel, 10 personnel, 1 personnel. Like you have all these things in your 21 speed personnel. You have all these things in your pocket of what you're going to use, and then if you get hot with something, you stick with it. So that's kind of how that's been. We don't want to be predictable in anything we do, but then again, we want to put our best players on the field. And so I think for the most part, we've always been more dominant of 11. I don't want to say by significant like we were on Monday night, but we still want to be balanced in that. That's just the way that game plan went right there, and the way the game shook out.
All right, cameras will shut it down.